stories tonight in Y News. The Philippines can't afford to open up economy completely, according to President Rodrigo Duterte.
ECQ bills already paid by Meralco customers could be refunded.
31 countries lift their inbound border restrictions. The World Health Organization acknowledges emerging evidence that COVID-19 could be transmitted through air other than through droplets.
The government of Thailand plans to reopen its borders for international tourists.
An English girl proves that a little gesture could mean a world to a fellow. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, July 8, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the globe.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news, the Philippines cannot afford to completely open up the economy amid the COVID-19 pandemic, says our president. Rosa Licos, our Malacanang correspondent, will explain why.
The Philippines will be in danger if the number of COVID-19 cases will continue to shoot up, according to President Rodrigo Duterte. He explains the Philippine economy must be opened in a gradual manner, unlike what other nations did, such as the United States of America and other developed countries. The chief executive made a statement during his public address last night, emanating from Davao City.
Tayo hoong pobre. We cannot afford really a total epidemic or pandemonium. Mahirap tayo. Hindi tayo pwede sumugal. And so we have to be very circumspect in the opening of the economy. Dahan-dahan lang. Because if we open the entire Philippines and thousands upon thousands of new cases would happen, then we are in deep. Talagang mahirapan tayo.
The president also believes the country is still in the first wave of COVID-19 infections.
No, we do not even know if the number of 34,178 of active cases is still a part of the first wave, or have we arrived at the second wave? I don't think so. We are still grappling with the first wave.
He adds, like other countries, the Philippines has been doubly hit by COVID-19, particularly the health and economy sectors. Rosa Licos, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country's Department of Health once again underscores the importance of keeping a safe distance away from other people in workplaces and on public transport. Our health correspondent, Aiko Miguel, explains why.
Based on the investigation of the DOH epidemiology team in companies and offices with COVID-19 cases, there have seen lapses in implementing health and safety protocols. In particular is observing the advisable physical distancing measures.
Bagamat merong mga physical distancing, may mga mask and all, pero pag kumakain, magkakasama sa pantry. So, nung pumutok ang infection, nakita na maybe some of them who ate in that pantry became positive.
The health department advises companies and employers to look into preventing COVID-19 transmission in workplaces. Prompted by the active transmission of the disease in public transport like the MRT, the DOH is considering the recommendation of the UP Octa Research Group to conduct randomized testing for employees who commute to work. But the DOH says the public must clearly understand the protocols for COVID-19 testing.
It's resource intensive. No? Hindi ko paalam kung kakayanin yan ng ating sistema, yung sinasabing randomized testing. And for how long will we do this, di ba? So kapag ginawa natin yan, sabi nga natin, ang ating testing is a point-in-time event. No? So pag tinest kita ngayon, maaaring bukas may bago ka ng exposure, itetest ba kita uli? So sabi ko, pag-aaralan namin yan because that's a recommendation. We put that on our table, we discuss.
According to the DOH, it is difficult now to trace the contacts of MRT personnel positive for COVID-19, specifically among MRT passengers. This is why DOH and the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases are looking into other protocols that will be implemented on mass transport.
Kapag talagang widespread ang community transmission, contact tracing talaga hindi na nag-work yan. And dito sa nangyari sa MRT na ito, gumagawa tayo ng ibang strategies for us to be able na ma-contain natin. No? Unang-una, nagsara ang MRT. Pangalawa, lahat ng empleyadong epektado, pati yung close contacts nila, were all quarantined. Pangatlo, they are still trying to gather para matest pa rin yung ibang employees nila para somehow ma-contain natin.
The Health Department is set to issue new guidelines for COVID-19 testing to include additional groups and individuals that will be prioritized in the country's expanded testing efforts. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte reveals that she has tested positive for the coronavirus disease. According to the Quezon City local chief executive, she is feeling well, asymptomatic, and now is isolated. Her office in the City Hall is temporarily closed for this infection. Mayor Belmonte, in her statement, said she never discounted the possibility of her getting infected despite being compliant with safety measures because she has had frequently visited health centers, hospitals, and areas under special concern lockdown in the community. The mayor reiterates, however, she feels no regret. She also assures her constituents that the local government services continue despite her falling ill. New quarantine protocols await overseas Filipinos who are coming back to Marikina City. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
The Marikina City government will shorten the quarantine period for overseas Filipinos returning to the city. Based on the present protocols, ROFs or returning overseas Filipinos must undergo a 14-day quarantine period when they arrive in the country. But for ROFs who are residents of Marikina City, when they arrive at the airport, they will be directly transported to a facility in Marikina.
Pansamantala, 1 o 2 araw, magpo-quarantine sila sa Marikina Hotel, doon sa aming quarantine facility. At doon, itetest na rin sila, isuswab.
With this development, ROFs can return to their families more quickly, according to Mayor Marcy.
Pag lumabas ang resulta kinabukasan ng kanilang pagka-swab at pagdating, ay maaari na silang ma-integrate sa kanilang pamilya. Ihahatid na namin sila sa kanilang pamilya.
Should the result of an ROF's test turn out positive for coronavirus infection, the patient will be given immediate medical care. According to Marikina LGU, 264 OFWs residing in Marikina have returned to the country since April. 161 of those have been assisted by the Marikina local government. The Marikina LGU continues to coordinate with the Interagency Task Force for the implementation of the program. The local government of Marikina plans to implement the new quarantine protocol by next week. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Elsewhere in Davao City, starting today, anyone who will be caught not wearing a face mask outdoors will face penalties. The City Council approved the new mask ordinance yesterday. Violators of the mandatory face mask directive shall pay 500 pesos for the first offense, 2,000 pesos for the second offense, and 5,000 pesos for the third offense, or 1 month imprisonment. This step aims to ensure that the public wears face masks outside of their homes all the time. According to Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, people must wear a face mask once they step out of their gates. The city government highlights the importance of staying at home, wearing a face covering, physical distancing, and proper hand hygiene. Masbate City remains COVID-19 free. The city hospital in Binyan, Laguna will not accept patients who will undergo medical surgery or pregnant women about to give birth for now. Mac Cordova explains why.
A staff nurse working in the operating room of Hospital ng Binyan has tested positive for coronavirus disease 2019. This has prompted the hospital administration to temporarily close their operating and delivery rooms. Dr. Melbril Alonte, Hospital ng Binyan's medical director, assures they will carry out the necessary measures to stop the spread of the deadly virus. He also calls the public for cooperation and understanding for the temporary closure of the hospital's delivery and operating rooms. As of today, there are no statements yet as to when they will reopen the specified facilities. Mac Cordova, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
A group of scientists has urged the World Health Organization to update its guidance on how the respiratory disease passes between people. Aaron Romero reports why.
The World Health Organization on Tuesday acknowledged in a media briefing evidence emerging of the airborne spread of the novel coronavirus.
We have been talking about the possibility of airborne transmission and aerosol transmission as one of the modes of transmission of COVID-19.
The WHO has previously said the virus that causes the COVID-19 respiratory disease spreads primarily through small droplets expelled from the nose and mouth of an infected person that quickly sink to the ground. In an open letter to the WHO, published on Monday, July 6, in the Clinical Infectious Diseases Journal, more than 200 scientists in 32 countries laid out evidence which they say demonstrates that floating virus particles can infect people who breathe them in. Any change in the WHO's assessment of risk of transmission could affect its current advice on keeping 1 meter of physical distancing. Maria Van Kerkhove said the WHO will publish a scientific brief summarizing the state of knowledge on modes of transmission of the virus in the coming days. The WHO once again underscored the importance of physical distancing measures to curb virus transmission.
We do recommend as much as possible avoiding closed settings and crowded situations. We do recommend appropriate and optimal ventilations of indoor environments and also physical distancing, as you know, and when this is not possible in areas with community transmission of the virus, we recommend the use of face masks.
Aaron Romero, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached a total of 11.8 million confirmed cases in 188 countries, regions, and sovereignty. That's after more than 89,000 people were reportedly positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, according to the World Health Organization. The fast-spreading disease has claimed over 544,000 lives, while more than 143,000 patients across the globe have recovered from the new coronavirus infection. That brings the total recoveries globally to more than 6.4 million. Thanks be to God. International travels are now invigorated, though travelers are still advised to be extra cautious amid the coronavirus pandemic. One of our senior correspondents, Joan Nano, tells us why.
As quarantine restrictions ease up in most countries, the Department of Foreign Affairs announces that 31 countries have lifted their inbound border restrictions. These countries are the United States of America, Malaysia, South Korea, Singapore, New Zealand, and Mexico, among others. After almost 4 months of shutdown, international flight operations resume in Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 3 beginning today. Among these flights are bound for Narita and Haneda in Japan, Bangkok, Thailand, and Doha, Qatar.
Hindi ho ito karagdagang flight. Kasi po dati na po sila nag-operate sa Terminal 1 to enforce social distancing, then medyo dumadami ng mga pasahero. We decided to put them back sa Terminal 3.
Although the IATF has allowed non-essential trips for Filipinos planning to go abroad, there are still essential documents required. The Bureau of Immigration has yet to receive the implementing rules and regulations allowing non-essential travel.
Katulad ng kanilang travel at health insurance. Pero yun po ay ating inaantay pa kasi ang naka-designate po na magdideterminan yan ay ang Department of Tourism. Considering na mayroon lang pong mga ahensya na assigned that, we are awaiting po sa magiging guidelines din po nila.
Bureau of Immigration further clarifies that Filipinos are still prohibited from leisure trips.
Yes, hindi pasyal. Hindi ito yung magkakaroon kayo ng leisure trip. O hindi pa ho, kumbaga, napakadelikado pa po ng ating sitwasyon, even sa ibang bansa. Maring kailangan mong may business kang kailangan puntahan o meron kang kailangan dalawin na magulang or kamag-anak.
Cebu Pacific Airlines and AirAsia may resume their international flights by end of July. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
After the long queues of passengers due to the suspension of MRT3 operations since yesterday, the operation of bus augmentation started early today, while 4 modified bus stops on EDSA opened for the MRT3 bus augmentation route. Let's find out why from Asher Kadapan Jr.
The MRT Line 3 bus augmentation started at an early schedule of 5 a.m. today. Commuters came early to MRT3 stations to avoid running late for work.
Dapat po kasi ang alis ko ng bahay talaga 6 a.m. Since nawalan po ng biyahe yung MRT, inagahan ko na lang po yung alis ng 4 a.m. kasi expected ko na po mahaba yung pila. So, ngayon po inaagahan ko na lang talaga para hindi po mahaba yung pila pagdating dito.
Kailangan umalis ng maaga para makarating sa trabaho mo. Kasi hindi ka naman po pwede nga wala kang hanap buhay dahil pamilyado ka.
The adjusted schedule of MRT3 bus augmentation program, as well as the unimpeded dispatch of bus units, comparatively reduced the long queue of passengers. The Department of Transportation doubled the initial 4 bus stops of the MRT3 bus augmentation route by opening 4 newly built modified bus stops in the median lane of EDSA. The city buses designated to the MRT3 bus augmentation route may load and unload passengers in North Avenue, Quezon Avenue, Main Avenue, Santolan, Ortigas, Guadalupe, Ayala, and Taft Avenue. The road sector appeals for patience on the public commuters' end for the limited bus stops on EDSA and encourages active transport in the meantime.
Ito naman po ay hindi naman permanente, interim lang po ito habang nagkakaroon po ng problema yung sa ating MRT3. Pero sa lalong madaling panahon, inaayos naman natin yan para makababa at makasakay ulit sila dun sa mga stasyon na binababaan na sinasakyan nila dati.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Jago William, we are on board the UNTV radio mobile booth and we are here in Quezon Avenue in Quezon City. Let's take a look at the situation on the road. So far, here in our area, we have a light traffic situation for vehicles coming from EDSA going to España, Manila. Meanwhile, we have a light to at times moderate traffic on the other side of the road for vehicles plying the Quezon Avenue from Manila going to EDSA. And for our weather update. The easterlies are affecting parts of the country. State Weather Bureau Pagasa says the weather condition is affecting the eastern sections of Visayas and Mindanao. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country may experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers mostly in the afternoon or evening due to the easterlies or localized thunderstorms. Possible flash floods or landslides may occur during severe thunderstorms. No tropical cyclone advisory is issued. Travelers from other provinces in Western Visayas are now allowed to enter the province of Iloilo. This comes after Governor Arthur Defensor Jr. lifted the restrictions imposed on July 1 on Iloilo's borders with neighboring Capiz, Antique, and Negros Occidental provinces. Strict monitoring on people entering Iloilo will remain in place to prevent the entry of any carriers of the deadly SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes coronavirus disease 2019. The Busuanga Airport in Palawan has reopened. This comes after a months-long closure since March. But for now, airlines will operate flights here for only twice a month. Currently, people with travel clearance, locally stranded individuals, returning overseas Filipinos, and authorized persons outside residence may travel to and from the airport. Busuanga town is now COVID-19 free after 3 coronavirus patients here recovered from the disease.
During its first pre-SANA event today, the Duterte administration reported about hundreds of billions of pesos disbursed for its COVID-19 response program so far. The government assures there are enough funds for further response to the pandemic. Rosalie Cos has the details.
A total of 374.89 billion pesos has been released for the Philippine government's COVID-19 response. Majority of this amount was spent to strengthen the capacity of the healthcare sector and to provide assistance to other sectors most affected by the coronavirus lockdowns. The Budget Department, however, has this assurance.
Meron pong sapat na pondo ang ating pamahalaan upang tugunan at labanan ang patuloy na pananalasa ng COVID-19 na pandemic po sa ating bansa.
Also, the national government has secured a $5.28 billion budgetary financing support from development partners, aside from the ongoing $126.36 million worth of financing for its COVID-19 response projects. The Duterte cabinet members say there's a need for a gradual reopening of the economy, especially in Metro Manila and Calabarzon, which makes up 67% of the country's economy. However, Filipinos must act responsibly and adhere to the minimum health standards to prevent the further spread of COVID-19.
It is vital that these regions reopen. The reality is that this virus will not go away until a vaccine is found. In the meantime, we must get back to work while staying safe.
Each and every Filipino needs to remain vigilant. We should all continue observing social distancing and other public health measures such as wearing of masks and frequent washing of hands to protect each other's health and well-being. We must act responsibly.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
If you are Meralco customers, hear this out. The Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, orders the power distributor to refund overcharged bills. To explain why, one of our senior correspondents, Ray Pelayo, will join us tonight live. Yes, Ray, good evening. And what is the reason for this?
Good evening, Will. If you have already paid your March, April, and May electric bill, or the so-called ECQ bills, you have an option to refund it and avail of the installment plan of Meralco. For households who consume 200 kilowatt hour or less, your ECQ bills can be paid in 6 months, while more than that consumption will be paid in 4 months. That's what Meralco clarified when I interviewed its corporate communication associate, Zen Fortaleza, today.
Para po sa customers natin na nakuha na ng actual reading ng Mayo, kunyari nabayaran nila ng buo lahat ng bills na yun, pwede po nilang i-refund kung nais na lang po nilang mag-avail ng installment payment po. So yung March, April, May, yan po pwede po nilang i-refund.
Will the Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, orders the power distributors to refund all overcharged bills. ERC Chair Agnes de Vanedera said they have received around 50,000 complaints mostly over outrageous electric bills.
Mga 90% yan yung shock bill na hindi pa sa buong buhay nila kumonsumo sila ng ganun. Karami na, ako, I should start with myself. Ako nga na-shock din ako. Aayusin nila yung kanilang bill. Iko-correct talaga. Kasi ang nangyari, kaya tayo nagkaroon ng shock bills dahil yung estimate, naghalo-halong kalamay, parang ganun. Yung estimate, yung actual reading, yung estimate, parang inad nila. So, kung sinuma total yun, talagang hindi yun yung ating mga tunay na bills.
Will? Yes, Ray, what about the customers' electric bills in the following months?
Well, Will, Meralco said they have adjusted their estimated bill during the ECQ months, and that will be reflected on their subsequent billing. Meralco will also send letters to its customers to explain in details their bills. Will.
Thank you, Ray, for that report.
The world of work has plunged into an unprecedented crisis, according to International Labour Organization Chief Guy Ryder. Global leaders called for a comprehensive approach to counter the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told the ongoing International Labour Organization Summit that the world had a special duty to protect the millions of healthcare workers at the front line of the crisis and suffering increasing cases of infection and death. The outlook for the global labor market in the second half of 2020 is highly uncertain, and the forecast recovery will not be enough for employment to return to pre-pandemic levels this year, the ILO said last week. The UN agency said the fall in global working hours was significantly worse than previously estimated in the first half of the year. Meanwhile, more than 500 swines had been affected by African swine fever or ASF in the towns of Paquil, Victoria, Los Baños, and Calamba City in Laguna Province. According to Laguna Provincial Veterinary Chief Dr. Grace Bustamante, the ASF-stricken hogs were already culled. She said they are also continuously monitoring parts of Laguna porkers infected with the ASF virus. Dr. Bustamante assures, however, the pork and local markets are ASF-free. The Provincial Veterinary Office has advised local slaughterhouses not to accept double-dead hogs, although the challenge is when ASF-affected pigs are slaughtered in the backyard. However, they assure strict monitoring. Higher prices of pork are now being felt in Metro Manila wet markets. Earlier today, I visited some markets here in Quezon City and other parts of Metro Manila. In Commonwealth Market, prices of pork ranges from 250 to 280 pesos per kilogram. 240 to 270 pesos per kilogram in Balintawak Market and 250 to 300 pesos per kilogram in Marikina Public Market. Most of the vendors say they now suffer big losses as sales have been slashed due to few customers. Even some market goers admit they are now consuming less meat because of tight budget amid the pandemic. Last month, the Department of Agriculture issued higher suggested retail price or SRP for pork in Metro Manila. Agriculture Assistant Secretary and spokesperson Noel Reyes say this is because of higher farm gate prices due to limited supply from hog raisers in Central Luzon and Region 4A Calabarzon, who were greatly hit by the African swine fever or ASF last year.
Kasi po naapektuhan po sila, bumaba po ang population, nag-call out po tayo ng mga mahigit mga 300,000. Although 2.5% lang ito ng total population, pero naka-apekto po ito dito sa Kalakhang, Maynila.
However, consumer group Laban Consumer opposes the issuance of higher SRP, noting that it is ill-timed and will greatly affect consumers amid the pandemic. The group also hopes for the passage of the second Bayanihan law for the price freeze to continue.
Parang gumawa ng situation na napilitan yung gobyerno na itaas yung SRP. So parang baliktad, no? Baliktad yung nangyari. Umabol yung SRP sa pagtaas ng presyo ng family prices. Hindi dapat ganun eh. Under the Price Act kasi kailangan i-ensure mo na binabantayan mo yung presyo at reasonable siya.
The Agriculture Department denies this and further appeals to retailers to observe the SRP.
Hindi po kami nagtaas porket para makabawi lang sila, hindi po gano'n. Nakikiusap kami sa mga retailers, sa mga biyahero na huwag na masyadong malaki ang patong nila. Subaybayan lang po, sana within that range ng SRP natin.
The Agriculture Department also calls on local government units to help its market vendors and retailers by supporting and purchasing their products. The DA adds they will also provide piglets and animal feeds to support hog raisers who were greatly affected by the ASF.
The 9 policemen involved in the shooting incident in Holosolu on June 29 are now in restrictive custody at Camp Crame, the Philippine National Headquarters. Our police correspondent Leah Ilagan gives the details why.
To be readily available for the ongoing NBI investigation, the 9 Holo cops involved in the shooting incident, where 4 army soldiers were killed in Sulu, have been transferred to Camp Crame. Their transport finally pushed through after one of them turned out negative for coronavirus in a second test. The group consists of 6 Holo Municipal Police Station Alert Team members and 3 from the Provincial Drug Enforcement Unit. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banac said that ProBar Director Police Brigadier General Manuel Abu escorted the 9 Holo cops. They have been turned over to the Headquarters Support Service.
Anytime na lumabas ang resulta ng investigasyon ng NBI, ay kailangan na sumailalim sila sa proseso.
PNP Chief Archie Gomboa said on Monday that one of the reasons why they needed to transfer the 9 cops to Camp Crame is to mitigate the tension in Hulo.
No, so sinabi ko lang na nandito ako, aman niyo ako, no? Of course, I give you my protection to some extent. Pero we should participate and we should cooperate fully with NBI. Kasi kung ang ginawa niyo naman tama, then wala kayong worry. Pero syempre pag mali, then mananagot talaga kayo.
The PNP chief also reveals that one of the 9 policemen has shed tears because he will be separated from his family in the middle of a big controversy.
May isa pa daw na umiyak, no? Na alis siya dun sa doon. Probably, human instinct lang ng father, ng ama, no? Naghiwalay sa pamilya niya. And of course, hindi sila ganun kasaya because they are accused of something very serious. And I think, alam nila kung gaano ka-serious yung accusation against sa kanila. And I think they understand it.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Following several petitions filed by several groups before the Supreme Court questioning the constitutionality of the newly signed anti-terrorism law, President Rodrigo Duterte defended the law in his public address in Davao City last night. He said law-abiding citizens must not fear the anti-terrorism law. He added the state has the right to defend itself against terrorists through the much-needed legal weapons. Various sectors expressed concern over the anti-terrorism law, which they say violates the human rights.
I am addressing you with all sincerity. Huwag ho kayong matakot kung hindi ka terorista. Kung hindi ka naman sisirain mo ang gobyerno, pasabugin mo ang simbahan, pasabugin mo yung public utilities, pasabugin mo yung just to derail para matumba na tuloy ang bayan.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath de Maraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, what have you got for us tonight, this evening?
Yes, William. It has been a week after all business establishments reopened in Thailand, and now the government is making plans on opening the borders of the country for tourism through the travel bubble scheme. Also, I will tell you why a prominent politician in Brazil vows to be tested for coronavirus disease.
Yes, go ahead, Kath. Please tell us why.
Tourism is an economic contributor in Thailand, and since the country has been successful so far in controlling the virus, the idea of travel bubbles has been introduced. The government drew the travel bubble scheme into 3 phases, wherein the country will welcome 1,000 international tourists a day from low-risk countries without a 14-day quarantine, and is expected to start in August for its first phase. However, due to the resurgence of cases of the coronavirus 2019 in the targeted tourists from countries such as China, Japan, and South Korea, the Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand Director General Chula Sukmanop said that the scheme will be put on hold. Mr. Sukmanop also mentioned that local tourism is vital to rebuilding the country's aviation industry, as they have seen an increased demand for domestic travel after airlines resumed operations. Meanwhile, in Brazil, Lower House Speaker Rodrigo Maia said yesterday he is going to have a blood test to see if he has the antibodies for COVID-19 because 6 days have passed since he was with President Jair Bolsonaro. Other politicians are expected to follow. Wishes for a speedy recovery poured in for President Bolsonaro after it was announced he has the new coronavirus. Bolsonaro will continue working from Brasilia's Alvorada Palace as he recovers from the disease. Bolsonaro's positive test looks set to spark a frantic period of contact tracing and tests for those who met Bolsonaro in recent days. Let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases in countries worst hit by the pandemic. The United States remains to be number 1 in this tally, with close to 3 million confirmed COVID-19 cases, with over 131,000 deaths and more than 936,000 recoveries. But Brazil, whose president himself is battling the disease, has surpassed that number of recoveries, with more than 1.1 million patients succeeding their battle against the world's present common enemy. South American countries Peru and Chile have slowly made their way up to this table, with Peru actually beating the number of death cases in country number 4, Russia. According to the World Health Organization, the Americas account for more than 6 million of the patients confirmed with coronavirus infection globally. Well, here's some refreshing news. With their stadium devoid of fans due to the coronavirus restrictions, Japanese baseball team Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks have come up with an imaginative, if a little creepy replacement, dancing robots. Before their most recent Nippon professional baseball game against Rakuten Eagles today, over 20 robots danced to the team's fight song on a podium in the otherwise empty stand. 2 different robots, some resembling humans and others on 4 legs like a dog, stamped and shimmied in a choreographed dance that is usually performed by the Hawks' fans before games in the 40,000 capacity Fukuoka Dome. Some of the robots wore Hawks caps and waved flags supporting the team. Boosted by the supportive robots, the Hawks won 4-3 as they look to defend their 2019 NPB title. The NPB season began 3 months late on June 19 due to the coronavirus pandemic, and currently no supporters are allowed to attend games. However, from Friday, up to 5,000 fans will be allowed to attend professional baseball and soccer games in Japan due to an easing of restrictions. And those are the reasons behind the news here in Thailand and in other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kath de Maraos, and please stay safe there in Thailand.
An English girl proves that a little gesture can mean a world to a fellow, and that makes a woman in England a proud mom. Nina Armilio has the story why.
8-year-old Tallulah Roberts used to thank a local delivery man with a spoken thank you whenever she receives a package. Tim, who usually knocks at the Roberts' door for delivery, is deaf. But to thank her new friend from Hermes Parcel Delivery Services, Tallulah learned sign language. The Roberts see Tim 1 or 2 times a week since the lockdown, when delivery men and women have been essential workers to get by during a time when people are ordered to stay at home. To say thanks for his service, Tallulah drew a rainbow for Tim and gestured a thank you in sign language. For Amy, her younger daughter's small but great gesture makes her a proud mom. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news, July 8, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I'm William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Have a great evening and stay safe, everyone.